creepy Candyman's going to take your kid.
Well, that's probably one reason why we're such helicopter parents.
That's exactly why.
Our generation, because we were brought up during this hysteria.
We were.
Of, you can't be out of my sight. A stranger's going to get you. Don't talk to a stranger. I mean, I remember after school specials. I remember school teachers talking to you about it. Your parents drilling it in your head.
The evening stranger danger.
Don't take candy from a stranger. If they have you help look for a puppy, they're after you. They're out to get you.
Yes.
Don't give anyone directions. If a stranger stops in a car and asks you a question, you run the other way.
And say he tried to...
it was really
there's a fire. Yeah.
In our heads, at least in my head. I remember.
No, that was a hysteria.
It definitely
was. Seriously, that was a mass hysteria event.
This was kind of Knoxville's first sort of big case of a missing child.
We got a little child.
So they were just ready to lock it down. And they had this 12-man task force. Time is dragging on.
I'm sorry.
Turns into 2 days, into 3 days.
We all know they lost half of the first 48. I mean, nowadays we all know that's a big fucking deal. You just lost 50% of your best window to, solve it, find someone alive, get the child, whatever. So anyway, but they're trying.
It's December, snow's falling, temperatures are dropping. Those searches where they were trying to go outside and look for her, that was kind of taking a back seat because of the inclement weather, the cold temperatures. They couldn't necessarily get volunteers to go out in those frigid temperatures.
Resources start drying up in local municipalities,
But police really were working pretty tirelessly to try to help find this child, following up on every lead they could, recanvassing the neighborhood. They were totally expecting the worst, though, after not finding her, the initial, search, and the next couple of days.
You're looking at probably over the next, 72 hours? After 72 hours, even the most hopeful and started thinking this is recovery now. It's not, you know what I mean? It's the recovery mission now. We're not looking for a safe return.
Yeah.
That's so sad. 6 years old.
Winter turns into spring, then fall, then it's been a whole brand new year.
That poor family, that poor mother. I just, honestly, it's so horrible.
At this point, Peaches has been missing for over a year. And as we all know, the odds were not looking good that the little girl would be found. And if she is found, she's probably not going to be alive.
No.
And as a parent, you just hope against hope that that's not going to be the case.
You do, but I bet in these parents, unfortunately, who have this or family members that it happens, it starts creeping in. Like in the lizard part of your brain, you start, you could be like, oh, I hope or maybe, and you start all these maybes and what ifs.
Yeah.
But in the lizard part, after time.
And I just feel like as a parent and as a mother and having this sort of sixth sense or intuition about things, I feel like I would probably know.
Yeah.
You want to believe that your
they're not
child's
still
alive,
there.
But you probably feel it in your soul.
Your little one leaves, tells you she loves you, probably been playing all day, you've been close to her all day, nice snowy day. They're all cold, probably may have had some snow treats or s'mores or something, So I love snow.
Well, it's the day after Christmas.
It's the day after Christmas.
Treats in the house.
Oh my God, and all the Christmas
they have their
energy.
Little Christmas presents. They're excited. Maybe Santa came. They got to see friends and family. Totally
great energy and such a great time. And you send her off to do something she's probably done literally probably closer to 1,000 times than 100 in this nice little local neighborhood. And that's just the last time you ever see your child.
I can't imagine.
I can't even wrap my head around it. It fucks me up. It does. I can't. And it's just like my entire heart goes out to these, especially these people. Not that all murder, losing people is horrible. To lose your little one.
Yeah.
It's
well,
just
and I
gone.
think the aspect of your child being missing and the not knowing, the closure, I think that's such a big thing. When you hear about these big cases like the Natalie Holloway disappearance, her mother just says, we just want to know where she is and what happened to her. They just need to have that closure.
Sam, we are true crime fans, which I think we're more realist than most, right? Than some people who aren't.
Maybe, I don't know.
But we're realistic. And at a certain point, you'd rather just find your little one's remains and bring them home and start working on that closure than to never know what happened to your little one or who did. Yeah. my brain would explode.
Yeah, I don't think
You know me, I
handle
think
that.
of 10 things at a time, my brain runs away. I couldn't live with that.
Yeah, I don't think I could either. It was January 23rd, 1982. So you gotta figure, this is like a year and a month or so after Peaches had gone missing, that a father and son were hunting rabbits by the University of Tennessee Extension Farm in Blount County. Now, the pair walked up on a skull. The father, he is kind of trying to look around, trying to figure out, is this a human skull?
Is it animal? It's hunting season.
What's going on? But
Yeah.
nearby, he found a pair of Mickey Mouse tennis shoes, and those were next to this overturned cattle chute, which the skull was kind of located by that. It was almost as if the body was kind of under this cattle chute, like someone had hidden it perhaps under.
Crammed her up under there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The men quickly alerted authorities. As you can imagine, if you're out hunting and you stumble upon something
With
like
your
this.
son.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be horrible to find a body, but the body of a little child?
A little 6-year-old.
I can't imagine. Again.
Oh my God.
Horrible. Horrible. Well, the body was a female child. She still had ribbons in her hair. She was wearing her underwear, and her coat was still buttoned all the way up to the top, like you would button a kid's coat before sending them off into the cold.
Buttoned all the way up by mom. Uptight, warm as you can be.
Yep, snug. A forensic pathologist identified the bones as the remains of Peaches. They were not able to determine if she had been sexually assaulted, I guess, because of the decomposition, the time the body had been outside.
Right.
But it was very strange that she was wearing only her underwear and the coat.
Yeah.
And that her shoes had been taken off.
Well, maybe it's best they couldn't tell. I know there's a justice standpoint, but just for the
for the mom's
yeah, I don't
peace
know.
of mind or
Yeah, I don't know
mental state.
how you could but so yeah.
She was buried 6 days later in a donated grave. During the year, police had interviewed over 100 people. So the police were taking this case
They were trying
seriously
the whole
as
time.
possible. They were definitely giving it 1,000%.
Yeah, even I said that earlier about losing the first half of the first 48, if you will, which is very important. But these cops in this story reacted quicker and bigger and more, for an extended period of time than a lot of we ever. So my hat goes out to Knoxville, Blount County. Those cops are not playing. They wanted to find that little girl.
They really did.
And now they want to find her killer.
I mean, you have to imagine interviewing over 100 people. That's
for all that time.
A lot of manpower, a year. It's a lot of people to talk to. And you'd think out of 100 people, someone would have seen something.
Yes.
Well, we'll get to that. One person did stick out as a suspect. Police later would come out and say, they really felt like this guy was guilty. And it was Mitch Reed.
Fucking douche.
If you remember, Mitch was Mom's hobosexual friend.
Yeah, in my notes I have Mitch Reed, big exclamation point, like a douchey one, and asswipe.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I recalled from you talking about Mitch earlier.
Peach's body was found about 15 minutes from Montgomery Village, where she lived, and only about a mile away from Reed's parents' house, where he stayed part of the time. Okay.
There's another notch, a reason to get this guy, right?
The body was decomposed skeletal remains, and it had a rusty 9-gauge wire, around her neck. Her neck had been broken. The wire had come from that UT farm site, where the body was found. The wire brand was made in the 1940s. Police theorized that the killer had probably strangled Peaches by hand in a vehicle, then drove her to the farm site where they wrapped that wire around her throat, maybe
right.
to just make sure that she was choked, or maybe even to try to throw
yeah.
police off,
Yeah.
They don't know about.
Well, they may be trying to make it look.
Study,
they may be trying to make it look like it happened there at that scene, and it happened in a vehicle, which that's common. I think with these sick fucks, they stay moving or whatever, and it happens fast. When they get your fucking kid, it happens fast. I forget what it is, but it's not very long that they're typically killed. They're seldom returned, and yeah, it's horrible. And
yeah, I think it's something like 3 to 9 hours or something.
I think that's 8 to 9 hours was sticking out in my head. And so That's a long time.
As I mentioned, Reed was a prime suspect in the case. He had a criminal background. Now, this was mostly for thefts and burglaries. His first run-ins with the law was at age 15. So, I mean, this was a guy who, definitely had a criminal history and was kind of a dipshit.
He was from the wrong side of the tracks.
He had also been questioned and was a suspect in another murder. And that was of 62-year-old Emma Brewer. She was strangled in her apartment. Her granddaughter actually found her body. She had been strangled with hosiery and an electrical cord. Her hands were bound, and the apartment door was open. So no charges were ever filed in Brewer's death, but Reed was definitely on the radar. He had just moved back to Knoxville, I guess, about 2 weeks before Brewer's death.
Yeah.
And again, didn't really have a place to stay. There was this theory that he had wanted to maybe move in with her and that she'd refused to let him move in. And he didn't have a place to stay. He probably got really mad and then killed her.
I'm sorry, how old was the elderly woman?
She was 62.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So you got this guy suspected in how a hard look on a 62-year-old woman and, God forbid, a 6-year-old little girl. Okay. See, this is when we talked earlier about vigilante justice, mountain justice, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, before the show got started, we were talking about some old-fashioned mountain justice.
Yeah, I just started.
Where sometimes, if, a lynch mob could just go grab someone up because they got off on, a technicality or something.
Right, they go get him. Yeah, okay, so, a little side note, we'll talk more, but, I started a book, 10 Murders in North Carolina, and it's in different regions. You got 3 in the mountains, blah, 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 in the Piedmont, and then some in the coast. And the 3 in the mountains are the 3 death penalties handed out. And, they don't play, right?
Right. The police had a dog search the Cadillac that Reed owned, and it did come up with Peach's scent in the car.
I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second, but I'm saying we should have a fucking lynch mob right now, and they should have got fucking Reed, and they should have fucking killed him. After the old lady, he killed,
I think
fucked
he's
with the
still
old
alive,
lady.
so they probably could.
Oh my God, we should go.
Dylan is not inciting a riot.
Let's suggest that he gets his just due. Let's just leave it at that.
Can we get back to the story?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Police had the search dog check the Cadillac, and sure enough, Peach's scent is in the car. Reed said he had given Hazel Smith and her kids rides in the car several times. So, of course, Peach's scent would be in the car. She had been in the vehicle multiple times.
Because he's an asshole and he's been bugging their mom and harassing her.
He had also admitted during interrogation interviews that he had actually gone to that corner store where Peaches went to buy the Coke.
Really?
And that he had gotten there before Peaches likely had made the trip to the store. That he had enough time to drink an entire cup of coffee after his encounter with Hazel on that December day, and that he had not seen Peaches the whole time he was there at the store. Has this cup of coffee, I guess out in the parking lot, maybe in the store, whatever, probably joking and coking, maybe with the employees or someone he knew, who knows. And then he leaves, and he said the whole time he's at the store, he never saw Peaches. Peaches left at 3:30 and immediately walked to the store, and it's a 15-minute round trip.
Right, she in 7-8 minutes, she's there.
And he leaves just moments before the child, because he's saying, oh, I went to the store too.
But I never saw her.
Right. So if he leaves mad, goes to the store, has a cup of coffee.
He's going to see her walking.
You would think.
Very likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems, but the people at the store saw the little girl, right? Saw little Peaches.
Right. She did make it.
She came in, got her Coke, or dope, as the old timers say, for her mom, and headed back out the door to go home.
Now, Reed also refused a polygraph, which, we know polygraphs are pretty much junk science.
It is, and honestly, I could see me, if I was innocent being accused of something, saying, I'm still innocent, but I'm not doing that because, you could just be nervous about being questioned and fail apart. You know what I mean?
I think my anxiety is so through the roof, there's no way I could.
I would fail one,
yeah.
But it'd be totally innocent. So it's junk science.
Well, it was also noted that he had refused a polygraph in that Emma Brewer case.
Well, sounds like a lying piece of shit, so that's probably why he's refusing them.
There was a witness, a boy, who had told police that he had seen Peaches outside talking to a man at the store on the day she went missing. The boy described a man who looked a lot like Reed and was, guess what, driving a brown car.
Like Reed. brownish, and they're going to assume Cadillac because the kid probably don't say that. I mean, the kid might.
Police wanted the boy